Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? Welcome to the 49ers Rush Podcast. I'm your host, as always, John Chapman. And man, even though football season is a ways away, about 11 weeks before preseason games and all that kind of stuff, we got 49ers news. And we have 49ers football taking place very, very soon. In fact, the 49ers announced they have canceled the last 3 remaining days of OTAs, organized team activities, and they are moving up mandatory minicamp from June 7th through the 9th. So today I'm recording this the 6th, depending on when you're listening to this podcast. Maybe you're driving to work. But for our live listeners, that's tomorrow. And there's a lot to talk about. One, who shows up, who doesn't, right? We're already starting to find out which players are coming and which ones are not. Also, on top of that, Trey Lance. We've got to talk about Trey Lance. We're going to be hearing from several of the 49ers coaches and players just on Trey Lance's progress through this entire, OTAs and offseason and all those things. So that's what we've got. We've got a lot of stuff going on. So first off, I just want to say thank you to everybody that is joining us now. Let's talk about this mandatory, right? Mandatory. Everybody got to show up. You don't show up, you get fined. You fined $90,000. Now, one player who was not expected to really do anything during practice, that's Jimmy Garoppolo. He got the doctor's note. He got the medical leave, got medical permission to miss minicamp for his rehab, which is very interesting. One, nobody's talked to Jimmy. And whenever I say nobody's talked to Jimmy, I mean nobody with the 49ers. No coaching staff, no front office, not even his, close quote-unquote player friends. George Kittle has not returned any of his texts. Jimmy Garoppolo bought him a phone, has not returned his texts or calls. But theoretically, this is what Jimmy does every offseason, that he literally just runs away and gets away from things. And again, as we keep hearing from Shanahan and from all the players, it sounds like there's zero communication. Even when the surgery took place days before they were able to trade him, 49ers were blindsided was the term that was used from Shanahan and Lynch. They had no clue what was going on. Wasn't what they thought was going to take place. This is just a weird situation. So if we're just looking at the Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance movement, all those things that take place, this is even more evidence that they are moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo. This is probably one of the first times that I've been in the camp of, he might get released. I've been very adamant and staunchly opposed to that. But I don't know, man. The fact that they're basically saying don't even come to minicamp, even as like a leadership issue or whatever, that's interesting. Now, Jimmy, he's a vet. He's been around for a while. And understand he was not going to be throwing anyway. But usually you want these guys around the locker room, especially somebody that's a positive, leadership standpoint as the quarterback. He's been a captain of this team before. They're saying stay away. They're saying don't come, which, again, I think trade is what everybody wants. I don't know. For the first time, I'm starting to kind of maybe release if they don't trade him before, that 53-person cut down. That's it. Now, the question is, why, if they're going to release him, why not release him now? You don't get anything from it. You get nothing. If you release him now, Jimmy Garoppolo, or if you release him all the way up until that 53-man, roster set down, you don't save any extra money. So not an issue whatsoever. So it's going to take some time there. But here's what this means. Anybody that is on this team, they 100% know that Trey Lance is the guy. He's the guy. There's no looking over your shoulder for Jimmy. There's no, hey, Jimmy, what do you think about this? There is none of those things. And so Trey Lance is the guy. Now, we're going to come back to Trey Lance talk. That's going to be the majority of this episode. And again, we're going to let the players and coaches talk about what they've seen from Trey this offseason, and we'll kind of dissect those things. But my good friend Coach Cruz here says, are we looking for a hold-in for Deebo? All right, will Deebo show up? That's a $90,000 question, because if he doesn't show up, here's the Matt Barrows laid out the fines for this. The new CBA is very, very strict on player like teams. Again, the medical exemption for Jimmy Garoppolo has been granted. Jimmy's not getting fined. Deebo doesn't have one of those. He's not injured. So I doubt they're going to release, if he doesn't show up, he's going to get fined. I'm telling you that right now. So Matt Barrows detailed what those fines are. So if you miss day one, $15,980. You miss day two, it doubles, $31,961. And day three is the big one, $47,936. So yeah, several teacher salaries in there just to show up. Now, if Deebo does show up, it's been called a hold in, that'd be fine. He's not going to play. He's not going to practice. There's no doubt about that. But if he just showed up, that would be huge. One of the biggest first steps into the right direction, right? He followed back the media and all the social media and all that stuff, which is whatever. But this would be huge. So we're going to find out tomorrow. Wayne's going to be on the show. We got our John Wayne show tomorrow. I don't have the cool sound graphics that he has, but that's going to be key. So Wayne and I will be here tomorrow talking about that. Now, the following Tuesday, he has his graduation ceremony for his kids that he teaches. So this Tuesday, tomorrow, we will be live with the John Wayne show. Next week, we're going to have to find a different day that we can throw it out there. And, this is another question that keeps coming about from Bay Area Baller. He says, John, any chance we keep Jimmy on a restructured amount, maybe $8 million as a backup? Not that much restructure. No way. So he's due 27. That's what he gets this year. 24 of that is not guaranteed. So if you released him or traded him, that $24 million cap space comes back. Now, why would Jimmy want to restructure? That's the question, right? Because if the options are, we're going to cut you, if he gets cut, he's guaranteed basically $7 million. But if he signs for another team, that would release the 49ers to that $7 million. Does that make sense? So let's say the 49ers cut him today. The 49ers would be on the hook for $7 million until he re-signs somewhere else. And then the 49ers, whatever he signs. So if he signed for $5 million somewhere else, the 49ers would have to pay $2 million, but what's ever left of that $7 million, right? So why would Jimmy Garoppolo restructure? He doesn't want to be here. He's super rich already. I can't find a reason why he would want to restructure. For the 49ers, it makes sense. They can say, hey, we'll give you a no trade clause this year, which would mean we're not going to send you to the Giants or whatever else. I just can't see it. I really can't. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So I'm going to put that on a pretty low list. If it will take place, I don't think it will. I just don't see it. I would like it to take place. Ideally, what would happen is, hey, man, instead of the 27, let's bump it down to, 19 million. And we're going to guarantee almost the full year, whatever. We'll add in, give us 3 teams you refuse to be traded to right now. And worst comes to worst, you'll get that. That's about as far as I could see it going. But remember, and I want to give credit where I heard this from. I think it was Mayoko, where he was talking about how he wouldn't wish this on anybody going through what he went through last year. So I don't know, man. It's a weird situation because he's been such a great teammate. He's done so much for this franchise. He's been rewarded handsomely financially. He's made a lot of money. And so that's great. But I don't know. It seems like this is, it's done. This relationship's over. So I very highly doubt a restructure. Even though it might be in the best interest of everybody, sometimes things just need to end. And so I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm with you. Big Papa definitely sounds like Jimmy's not coming back. I would love to keep him as a backup. And, this is one of the ones, Jordan, I am so I don't buy into this narrative. I understand some people put this out there that keeping Jimmy as a backup would undermine Trey in the locker room. I don't know, man. There's competition at every single position. I am much more into the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, the old 49ers quarterback. Quarterback's just a position. I understand it's a different position, but I don't know. Nobody talks about Hufunga's leadership or whatever if he's competing with other safeties or whatever. I just don't buy that. Nobody was with Ayuk, with what he went through last year, he's still a leader of this team. So this locker room is strong. What's up, Big Papa? I think they could handle it. They're big boys. Now, will it cause some people to look, Jimmy, all this stuff? I like having that backup. What's the old Charlie Casserly, which he's a goofball in so many respects, but, whatever. The most important position is your quarterback. The second most important position is your backup quarterback. I don't want Nate Sudfeld as the 49ers backup quarterback for this season. I really, really don't. That scares me. And yeah, couple bad, again, Jordan, a couple bad starts and the whispers would start. That's fine. I don't give a damn about whispers. I don't care about the press media. And I don't think Trey Lance does either. That's just your pick number 3. There's going to be issues. There's no doubt about that. And that you could look at what happened with last year, Zach Wilson, right? Zach Wilson, the number 2 pick. They had no competition behind him. Mike White, I think is who it was, steps in and has a bananas game, and those whispers happened anyway. So if you don't perform, I don't give a damn who's behind you, whether it's Sudfeld or freaking Colt McCoy. I don't care. And yeah, Jordan says, I get you, John, but quarterback is different. It is. I've been in teams that switch quarterbacks, and you set the precedent. I get it. I mean, some people are going to have issues, but yeah, I don't know. Who was Mahomes' backup when Alex Smith got traded? I think it was Chase Daniels. Somebody might want to check me on that. Let's get the answer to that. Niner by Nature, great question. Who was Mahomes' backup when Alex Smith got traded to Washington? Let's look that up. I think it was Daniels, if I'm not, might have been Chad Henne or Daniels off the top of my head. Those are kind of the ones that come around. Now, other players not named Deebo. Trent Williams already announced he's coming. Nick Bosa, he's been in Florida. Now, his brother showed up for voluntary workout, so it's not like he's training with his brother currently. My guess is Nick Bosa will show up, but again, he hasn't been there, but I'm zero concern. If Nick Bosa shows up or doesn't show up, don't give a damn. That dude is one of the hardest working people in the offseason. His body, you just look at literally his body. He's got to be ready to go. Not worried about that at all. Now, before we jump into our players and coaches talking about Trey Lance and kind of what he's brought about, I do want to let everybody know we have finalized our deal with the Chicago trip. Again, we've been talking nonstop about everything we got going on for the 49ers Rush road trip and our schedule. Week 1, we're going to be in Chicago. That trip is almost completely done. We're throwing a tailgate where the Giants are playing at Wrigley that weekend. We're going to be going to that one. And we've got our hotel deal completely sewed up. And so, man, I cannot believe what Fanucci, the man that's helping me put all this together, was able to throw together. 49ersrushroadtrip.com. Hotels are expensive right now. Traveling is expensive right now. We were able to get almost $100 off a night at the Marriott, 1 mile from Soldier Field. So if you want that, again, that's going to be exclusive for our VIP people that buy that package. Literally, it's $50. We do the whole weekend together, all those things. And it's basically an extra way. Throw some money back to the podcast. We're going to save you several $100s over the course of your trip. And we're going to be organizing, how to get to Wrigley, where we're partying before the, Giants and Cubs game to, I'm trying to put some jazz stuff in there in Chicago. I love going to jazz bars and things like that. We're going to be doing some Chicago pizza trips, dinner, and it's basically the whole itinerary and tailgate. It's going to be incredible. So if those are some things you want to do now, if you've already bought that, want to say thank you. We're going to be emailing you individually, getting you all the details, where you book your hotel and all that stuff. So again, you want to save some money, you're going to Chicago. It's worth it alone just to do that. Because again, we're saving you so much money. When you contact these hotels and you say, hey, we're bringing, we need 35 plus rooms. And they're like, okay, well, if you book that many, we'll give you a couple free rooms. And we say, that's not what we're doing. We want cheaper rooms for everybody. And so we get those prices negotiated down. That's what, Fanucci's doing in the background, working really, really hard on that stuff. So anyway, if you want to save some money, that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. Again, 49ersrushroadtrip.com. That's what it's going to be set up. And again, we're working through the season, and a lot of these hotels take a while. We get everything signed, and we sign contracts and all that stuff, guaranteeing we're going to have so many people there. But then it takes their computer guy 2 weeks to generate a link for us to use. So we're working through the season. We've got stuff in Mexico we're planning out. We've got stuff in Charlotte. We got stuff in Atlanta. We're working through the away game schedule. Every away game we're going to be at. So that's going to be there. Cotley says, let me know when everything's set up for week 8 versus the Rams in LA. We're working through it, man. And so this is my last week of teaching. This is it. I got 4 more days, baby. Then it's full time. I can't believe my school's still going, but we finished Friday. So anyway, that's where that is. Here we go. We got a question from Bill. Would you place a bet that Trey Lance has the lowest turnover rate in the NFL this year? I would not. I understand a big reason why I love Trey and why so many people love the evaluation of Trey is because he never turns the ball over. Literally went an entire season, won a championship without throwing one interception. Now, there were some turnover-worthy plays in there. He did throw 2 interceptions last year, and he's going to throw interceptions this year. So I would not bet that now. He's only 22. Maybe whenever he's 25, 26, that's a conversation that can be had. But he's a rookie with some questionable old line in front of him. So that's one of the things that's I wouldn't put that bet. A dark horse candidate for sure. And if he does, the 49ers are going to be playing a lot of playoff games. A lot of playoff games. Now, I'm with you, Jordan. I wish they would have got a better backup for Lance. Yeah, I agree. I would be willing to trade a third for Gardner Minshew and get him in here. Give me a 6 back and Gardner Minshew. I'd be so happy for that. I'm a big Gardner Minshew fan. I think he would fit perfectly as a backup, but we'll have to see what happens there. Yeah, we'll have to see. Oh, I love this. Nighter by Nature. I place a bet on Trey Lance winning MVP. Big money if he wins. More money has been placed on Trey Lance winning the MVP than any other player, according to Vegas, because the odds were so big, everybody jumped on it. Now, it doesn't mean he's the most likely, and I don't think he is going to win the MVP, but I did put a small bet in there as well, just because why not? Let's enhance the experience, baby, of 49ers. Now, let's go to the coaching staff. Let's listen to our defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans, who's incredible, talking about what Trey Lance has done for his defense.
I think Trey has done a great job. It's good to see him, with his command and him running the offense, and he's zipping it past us a lot. So he's making it tough on us. Trey has done a great job. It's good to see him just coming into his own role as a leader and being able to take control of the team. So, we're fired up for Trey and what he can do for us.
This is somebody that has to coach against Trey every single day in practice, right? And so the leadership, you like that he brought that up. You like that he, talked about, and a lot of this is going to be coach speak. We'll hear from some of the players. Coach has got to say certain things. But, man, you watch some of that practice film that came out last year. Whew. Shout out to Javier Vega for getting that out. But, oh, man, Trey makes some throws. And I will say this, Jimmy Garoppolo, as great as he has been and as many wins in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl appearance, all those things, Jimmy Garoppolo was a notorious, terrible practicer. He was bad. I don't think you'd say the same thing about Trey because, again, he makes some of those throws where he just zips it in there quick. So that's one thing that I'm pretty damn excited about is it's going to look different because, again, if you just look at the target selection on the field where Jimmy would throw it, in between the numbers, about 15 yards or less, that was it. Didn't throw it deep at all. Trey doesn't do that. Trey's got a freaking cannon, and Trey is going to be slinging it like crazy. So I think that's a big deal. Now, let's get to the players. This is Talanoa Hufanga, who, man, I can't talk enough about this kid. Our last episode, we went in detail on Huff, but here's him talking about Trey.
That dude can sling the rock, I'll tell you that. So Trey's been a tremendous, I think he, just kind of his guidance between his first year and his second year, just being right next to him, being a rookie with him was awesome. Getting able to see his insight as a quarterback, kind of see what they see and what they're looking for, and what he can do on the field is just outstanding. And you love to go against that kind of competition each and every day. So we're excited to have him, and I'm just blessed to be on the same field as him. So
that's awesome. Yeah, again, he can sling it, right? It's different going from Jimmy and the quick release, right? Quick timing, anticipation to freaking rocket launcher. It's just different. And so whenever, he's a rookie, or Hufanga was a rookie with Trey Lance, both of them coming in as rookies last year. We're going to see now another rookie, Aaron Banks, who I wouldn't mind talking some more about, who's been getting all the snaps with the first team at left guard. We'll have to wait till pads come on. Here is Aaron Banks, who was the second round choice, talking about working with Trey because, again, they came in together as well.
Trey's great, man. I think he's super confident. He's a fun guy to be around. He knows what he's doing. He does a great job of making sure everybody knows what's going on and what the situation is, and love having Trey in the huddle.
Yeah, so, it kind of went through it pretty quick. And I do think, real quick, let's jump off on some Aaron Banks discussion. Whenever the 49ers send somebody to the podium, they do it on purpose. They do it for a reason. And I think they're doing everything they can to build up what's happening here with Banks. And that left guard spot is his finally. If he wants it, he's got to earn it. There's a lot of guys behind him, but they're clearly saying, this is your job. It's yours to keep it. And so I'm really, really hoping that he will do exactly that. And so we'll have to wait and see there. Now, this one, which, again, I could talk about this kid all day. Jeff Wilson Jr., who is the oldest in the running back room, which is crazy now, right? You got Elijah Mitchell, he's a rookie last year. You got Trey Sermon, he was a rookie last year. You got TDP, he's a rookie this year. You got JaMychal Hasty, he's an undrafted free agent rookie just 2 years ago. Like, it's a very, very young room. So the vet in the room is Jeff Wilson Jr., and he's one of my favorite personalities, man. He's incredible. So here's him talking about Lance and kind of what's changed this year from Trey Lance last year.
Man, you could tell he's way more demanding, you know what I mean? Like he's always been demanding, don't get me wrong, but, you could just tell that he's embracing the role, you know what I mean? And you can see it. He's growing up, he's maturing at a rapid pace, and it's every day. It's not just since we came back to OTAs, he gets better every day with whatever he needs to do, and he's been on top of his game.
Is it mental and physical?
No doubt, all this time. That's the nature of the game that we play. But he won't have no problem with it. And he's just going to keep on learning from Kyle and his coach, and I think he's going to be a great player.
Oh, I like it. More demanding, right? Shout out to, our conversation earlier with Jordan talking about, having Jimmy there would cause some issues for Lance. That's why I think the precedent's been set. All of OTAs, all of this offseason, everybody's, hey, Trey's the guy now. Now you're going into mandatory minicamp. They told Jimmy stay away. It's set. And the fact that he's more demanding, taking ownership of the offense, taking ownership of the playbook, taking ownership of the huddle. Those are the things that are taking place. And again, if you've ever even listened to a press conference with Trey Lance, or you know who he is or his dad is, incredible human being. One of the stories, and again, this goes back to, I believe it was Mayoko's podcast. He did a small series on Trey Lance after he was drafted. And, his dad said, I'm never going to wake you up for practice in the morning. You want to go get some extra work, whether it's batting cages, throwing routes, weightlifting, whatever, all throughout high school. You ever want to go, you got to wake me up. I ain't going to wake you up. You want it, you got to wake me up, and I'll take you every single time. And again, That was it. The dad never had to ask Trey. Trey woke him up every time, every single time. They didn't miss workouts. This is a very highly self-motivated, confident, healthy individual. And whenever I say healthy, there's toxic leadership, and then there's kind of humble humility leadership, which just screams from Trey Lance. And you go back to the press conferences and the games that he played, blamed himself for mistakes, elevated everybody else. And so there's just so much there. Again, you go back to this whole idea. What will it take for a quarterback to fail, right? Let's play negative. What's up, Nick? Glad to see you. Oh, I see you flexing with no shirt on. Your Facebook profile. I see you, Nick. The idea is this, right? Why do quarterbacks or prospects in general fail? Why are they quote unquote busts? All right. Some of them lack of work ethic, right? Jamarcus Russell, whatever you want to do that. Some of them lack of knowledge of the game. Vince Young, right? I mean, there's lots of different people you do. Some of them off the field stuff. Johnny Manziel. I mean, there's lots of people that fit in that category. Some of them just don't have the talent. They don't have the arm strength. They don't have whatever. And then some of them just fall into bad positions where it's the goldfish theory. You kind of grow into your surroundings. You're on a bad team. You've got bad weapons. Daniel Jones, whether I don't know why they're failing, but Daniel Jones kind of fits into that whole idea. Sam Darnold, whatever. Trey Lance doesn't have any of those issues. Work ethic, body, arm, knowledge, awareness, turnovers, leadership. Good. Kid's 22. I don't know, man. And again, you can focus on those national media narratives that why don't they name Trey Lance starter? Those are people who do not take the time to go through these press clippings, to go through all the things that Juan Solis, the beautiful Juan Solis, brings to us so that you can get the entire story, the entire true narrative. This team has been completely handed over to Trey Lance. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have said it repeatedly. I don't know. It's what it is. Anyway, now we do have a lot of stuff coming ahead. I don't know if you saw this. We are starting over on YouTube. This is a big task, but I don't care. I'm excited. It's my last week of school. It's time to push the chips in. We are doing 90 player profiles. There's 90 players on this roster. Actually, 91 because we have a roster exemption with Gutierrez, the offensive tackle from Mexico. But D Ford's on there. D Ford was number 91. We're not talking about him. But all 90 player profiles, we're doing a video on each and every one of them. So that's going to be over on YouTube. I've got a separate playlist where you can go through. We just put up our very first player profile over there. We're doing all 90, which we have to get them done before the first preseason game. So that's 9 a week videos. It's not going to get in the way of the rest of our content. It's just extra. But man, that's 9 a week. It's a lot of work. And I do want to say thanks to Coach Cruz and Josh for helping us get this research done, planning it all out. We're starting at 90 and working our way up to 1. So yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be fun. And the whole idea is this. What is our job here at 49ers Rush? Because there's so many 49ers pods, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. What is our job? What do? We want to educate, and we want to enhance the fan experience of the team you love, the 49ers. And so we are trying to provide texture, context, and bring to life all of these players. That's the whole idea. And, if you're looking at, how do I say this? You start looking at this roster and the back end guys that are everywhere. Like, how much do you know about Kader Holman? That was my number 90 player. Well, we went into where he went to high school, the different awards, how he walked on at Toledo, how he was a teammate with Samuel Womack at Toledo, what he's done with Green Bay, why he was traded from Green Bay. We are bringing these people to life so that as we go through minicamp, as we go through the preseason, as we go through training camp, you see this guy and you say, oh yeah, I remember this. And so we're trying to bring all of these guys to light so that, one, again, We have the most educated listeners / subscribers / watchers wherever you get your content. And 2, whenever you watch those preseason games this year, you're going to know everybody. You're going to know everybody. So when you're watching with your son or your daughter or your wife or your friends, you're going to be like, oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, I can tell you about this guy. And you're going to, and so we got you. That's what this is about. It's a lot of work and that's okay. Work's not a bad thing, but we're trying to create that here. So stay tuned for that on YouTube. They're going to start popping up like crazy. Once I'm done going live here, I'm recording 4 more of those tonight. I'm going to get those scheduled to come out on YouTube throughout the next week. So we got to get 10 a weekend for 9 straight weeks. Man, it's going to be fun. So hold me to that. Also do want to say, here are some players, I put this out on Twitter, that these are players people need to be talking about a lot more. Everybody wants to talk Deebo and Bosa and Trent Williams, and rightfully so. Kittle. We have 5 all-pro players. I mean, it's nuts what the 49ers have built this roster. But there's a lot of players that are going to play a very pivotal kind of, pendulum. It could go either way. And those players are, these are some of the Darqueze Dennard. Can't talk enough about this guy. Just finished. I went back because he played 21 snaps for us. Week 18, that last game in the regular season against the Rams. He came in the fourth quarter after we had a couple injuries. He came in and played great. And so what I did, I just finished this. It's loading on YouTube now, but I'm going to put this on Patreon as soon as this show concludes. I went back and watched every one of his snaps on all 22. And you see him. He went against Cooper Kupp a lot. He got roasted by one. Stafford didn't look his way, thankfully. But, man, he played well. Darqueze Dennard's going to be the starting nickel corner for this team. He is right now, and he's probably going to keep that job. So we need to know everything we can. So I broke that down. That's going to be available on Patreon. If you haven't yet, guys, it's time, man. You need to get over there on Patreon. You could just, it's patreon.com/49ers podcast, or just search 49ers Patreon. It shows up. That's going to be up. I'm going to get that posted just as soon as the show's over. Jalen Moore, good Lord. He's going to be starting right guard or right tackle probably. And if he's not starting right tackle, Justin School is. Because I don't think McGlinchey's going to be ready week 1. I hope he is. That'd be the best case scenario. But even if McGlinchey does come back, just Jalen Moore, I think he's going to be the right guard. I think he's taking those reps. We'll have to see what happens. Because, again, I think Daniel Brunskill gets slid into center. If not, you keep Brunskill at right guard. Then you got Jake Brindle. That's somebody we got to talk about. Talanoa Funga, I'm going to bring his name up all the freaking time. And DFF, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. Because Azeez had not 1 but 2 surgeries. 2 this offseason. Is he going to be ready? I don't know, man. I really don't know. So we're going to have to wait and see. 2 surgeries, knee and a shoulder, I believe. That's rough. And so if that's the case, you're talking Oren Burks, who you just brought in this year, or you're talking DFF. That's a starter. That's a starter. So we got to figure out some stuff there. There's no doubt about the roster is good. It's a very, very good, deep roster. But with today's salary cap, you can't have studs at every position. You've got to have some of these glue back-end roster guys that can step up and provide meaning snaps. So Darqueze Dennard, Jalen Moore, Justin School, Hufanga, DFF. These are guys that, I think you gotta figure out. Niner by Nature says, John, do you keep Azeez or Greenlaw? I'm team Greenlaw, have been since day one. That's not going to change for me. If I was making that choice, it'd be Greenlaw. You got to wait and see what happens this year. Azeez injuries, who knows when he's going to be back. I hope it's sooner, because when Azeez is out there, we have the best linebacking core in the NFL. But if you're asking me, 100%, I'm going with a consistent player much more often. Azeez, splash player, positive and negatives, but played incredibly last year whenever he filled in for Fred Warner. And again, if you're asking me for a Mike backer, I'd prefer Azeez. But knowing I have Fred Warner long-term, I'd prefer Greenlaw next to him than Azeez. Not that that's a bad choice if you go the other way around. There's not a wrong choice here. Both are incredible. But I think the situation will work itself out. And so we'll have to see what's going on. But I will put this out there. The 49ers seem to prefer Greenlaw. You remember last year down the stretch, Greenlaw was getting all those snaps. not Aziz whenever Greenlaw was healthy. To start the season, it was Greenlaw. And so, again, you know, it's you kind of take that for what you want. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. They're both incredible. So anyway, here we go. Seahawks at home for Niners Rush homecoming event. Please say yes. Yeah, we're going to figure some stuff out for you're talking about. Yeah, 10-3. Again, I'll throw this up there. The schedule that we got. You know, if you look at 10-3, that's against the Rams game. And then I think that's what you were talking about there. And then the Seahawks, we got the 15th. We'll be there for that Seahawks game. So we're going to be there for that one. So that's there. So anyway, this has been fun. This has been a good trip, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Jumping in there, hearing from the players, hearing from the DC about Trey, what that looks like. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. Again, we're posting everything tonight on 49ers Rush Road Trip for that Chicago trip. That's going to be incredible. Trey Lance versus Justin Fields, week 1. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm so excited. So excited. And again, Patreon, head over there. I'm about to go post that Dark West Denard video breakdown. I think it's about 20 minutes. Gave a really good look. So if you want to know who our starting nickel is going to be against Cooper Kupp, you kind of get to see it. And it kind of makes sense why the 49ers kind of fell in love with them. So anyway, appreciate you guys. Thank you as always. And as always, stay strong, faithful.